Many have taken up the Walrider project. Many have forced others into an attempt at being hosts, attempted experiments. Many have experimented on themselves. All have become madmen. Some of us have no desire to press someone into a situation where we would try to make them a host. Instead, we have only ourselves to try to make and form into this being that can possibly host this madness and filter it and focus it. Project Walrider is about focusing madness and using it in a way that opens a portal. I could speak of the grasslands of the Sahara. I could speak of the chill and heights on mountain peaks, but instead I will speak of Carcosa. I landed on the yellow grasslands without meaning to. I didn't know I didn't want to be there until my thoughts became animated by shadows with no source but my mind. I didn't know I didn't want to be there until I saw a tower behind a moon, yet still on a part of a Carcosa. Sweet, sweet Carcosa. The grass is very yellow. I emerged from a forest created from the shadows of my own thoughts. And that was only the beginning, only at the edge. And I walked into the yellow fields. It was just grass, about 3 feet high. But there were people using their hands and yellow rags that they wore. They stored this yellow grass. They were all bent. They were all focused. And they were all decrepit, dying. Decrepit no matter what the age, dying no matter what the ailment. For it seemed this land crooked their backs and destroyed their wills to where they only knew one purpose, similar to cattle that are raised and driven through a slaughterhouse, who only grew in mud, except these people were human beings. Focus on the yellow sign touching the red. The border doesn't matter. It brings you to the center. Focus your eyes on the center of the yellow sign, the sign of the Yellow King. Keep your eyes there. Blink as rarely as you can for 20 seconds. Now we move forward. We're walking past these people with bent backs. Some of them are children. Some of them are teenagers. Some of them are very old. Some of them are average adults. But they all have yellow clothing in which they put the grass, the yellow grass. And they all seem to be only focusing on the grass beneath them. Walk along the path between the fields. They do not turn. You walk further. They do not turn. You walk even further. And in the distance, you see these black towers. Some of them are grayish, most are black. On the outside of the city ahead, there are shorter buildings, shorter towers. But as you move your gaze towards the center of the city, The towers and the buildings get taller and taller, as if it's on a hill. And then above this hill, there's this swirling blackness. You can't see into it. You can only see the outside of this cyclone. So you'll have to go further. You walk. Feel the yellow grass beneath your feet. It's shorter on the path. It's easy to feel. It's easy to walk on. The path is dividing the fields in front of you. And you walk and you walk. And there is no one looking towards you. Imagine the smell. You smell sweat. You smell dew. You smell grass, but it doesn't smell quite right. It doesn't smell like a freshly mown lawn. It feels and smells like in your nose that there's a tint of iron to the yellow grass. You keep walking. You feel the path beneath your feet, and you realize that all the yellow grass that is cut by the people and is bent by your shoes, even though it's smaller on the path that you're walking, is bleeding. It's bleeding red. Just the color of blood, a dark red. You breathe in. Try to contain yourself. So let us breathe in 10 times, very deeply. The iron feels like it's collecting in your nose, but you must walk on. We have about 100 feet before we reach the in-between of two buildings that are very squat compared to the building in front of it. But one is a black tower and one is a gray building. It seems like all the buildings are either gray or the towers are black. So we move forward. Our feet touch the pavement. It feels like stone. The cubes are weird though. They give to our foot just a little bit, as if we're walking on hard flesh instead of rock. It's not really cushioned, but it's like you're walking on a steak, a piece of beef. But it's gray. It looks like rock. But it gives. And every time you step, a little bit of moisture squirts out each side. Just a tiny bit, just a few drops. As if what you're stepping on is something that is organic. So you move forward. And there's some stairs in front of you, probably about 10 or 12. You step, 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 you meet the stairs. But before you step on the first step, you look from side to side. You see one black tower and one gray building. But there's no windows on either one. There's no windows on any of these buildings. It seems very strange. But there are multiple doorways on every tower and every building. But they're all pitch black. You hear sounds in them. Sounds like bits of laughter, bits of scuffling, bits of scraping. You decide it's best to stay on the path forward and not to delve into these buildings. Every now and then, you'll see a hand come out of the doorway, or a doorway, to every building and touch the pane of the door frame. And the hands, they have scrapes, they have cuts, yet they're not bleeding very much. It's like they're dry. And you notice this more and more as you walk forward. One flight of stairs, then the next one is about 30 stairs, the next one is about 40, the next one is about 50, the next one is about 60. You stop. You feel like there's a progression that has made you quicken your step, like something is pulling you. So you stop and you reassess. Same sounds from the towers and gray buildings around you. Same cushiony feeling from what you're stepping on. But now we look at the yellow sign again. We focus on it. We look at every single part of the yellow sign. The painting before you is the yellow sign. So focus on it. Focus on the very center. Know that everything you need to observe is yellow, and everything else is your humanity. Focus on the center and breathe for 10 deep breaths. You feel the strength to move forward, so you mount the next layer of steps. Eventually you reach the top, and it's strange. You find a very large tree just below this cyclone of blackness that you saw earlier. There are gray walls to either side, but it's in a circular fashion. They are curved around the central point of this city. They are gray walls, and you see something very disturbing. You see rows and rows of babies, and they're all whistling. Every segment of wall, and there's 3 altogether, in a curved fashion, has lines and lines of babies between them and the tree. But about 15 feet out from the trunk, the rows stop. You see one person bring another baby and put it in another row. They're all whistling with their eyes closed. They're all whistling before this tree. And from the trunk to the tip of the tree, you carefully observe. You breathe evenly for 5 breaths. Now you observe the trunk. Keep your eyes focused on the yellow sign in front of you. But in your mind's eye, observe the trunk. It is the trunk and bark of an oak, a very thick one, a very old one, but it is black, black as night, black as the abyss. And as you move your eyes up, the leaves are all yellow, and every leaf seems to shift by itself. There's no breeze. There's no way that there's any outside influence, but every single leaf writhes in its own way. It is not like regular trees. It's as if every leaf was its own tree, and every leaf is trying to escape from the branches, writhing and pulling outward in all directions. There are hundreds of leaves on many branches. Perhaps there's even thousands. And they all look like eyes in the shape, but they don't have pupils. But they are yellow. And then you slowly move your vision upward past the leaves. And you look straight up, for you are near the tree. And you see this huge yellow sign that you see in front of the painting in front of you, right here on the screen. But only the central yellow sign. You see that against the abyss of blackness that is at the center of this cyclone. And you swear there are black tendrils coming out of the cyclone, and everything is whirling. All the energy that has no effect on the space around it, but it is all whirling, and you feel this motion right above the tree. All the leaves are trying to get away from this motion. All the tendrils are reaching out, but you see the yellow sign at the center. And then you realize this is the focal point of Carcosa, and everything is working towards this point. Close your eyes. Breathe 7 times. With your eyes closed, imagine that yellow sign you've been looking at in the painting against the blackness of your eyelids. Feel it warm. Feel it accompanying. Feel it trying to connect to you. Slowly open your eyes and look at the painting once more. What you feel is the beginning of Carcosa. Sweet, sweet Carcosa. Project Walrider, Phase 1, signing out.